Welcome back. A happy little house plant is a great gift for a party host or for someone in your circle that could use a little more green in their life. Zander Caruso is here from Barton Springs Nursery with tips on how to take great care of them. The gardening season is over outside. Let's bring it inside. Zander, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. So why are we returning to houseplants other than the fact that you're a big expert and a big lover of them?
I do, yeah, they're great. And like you're saying, gardening is kind of finished for the year outside. It's very cold. There's a little bit you can do around the garden, but not a whole lot. So those who still have the itch, who want to get into plants, houseplants are a great way to kind of get into plants, green up your home, and kind of learn how these things work, and especially learn where they're native to.
I am blown away by this arrangement of houseplants. You brought it all in here and I said it looks like Jurassic Park.
Yes.
It does. I mean, the variety of some of these things is really shockingly beautiful. So let's first talk about general care, including watering.
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest killer of houseplants would be overwatering. It's very rare that it's underwatering whenever we have people bring in plants. Like, what's wrong with this? So you water too much. And something important to know about watering is the frequency in which you water and not necessarily the amount.
Interesting.
So, for instance, what I like to do is if I have a plant that's this big and it's super light and I check the soil, see if it's moist, if it's super, super dry, I'll just take this, put it under my sink, run the tap pencil thin for about 10 minutes. And that way I know all of the soil has saturated, and then I put it back in its place and leave it there for 2 to 3 weeks sometimes, and just make sure that it's dried out before I water it again.
Well, what about something that's maybe not in a removable pot like that? I'm thinking about, I have a couple of lovely little setups of succulents.
Yeah.
I don't know how much water they're getting.
Yeah. So succulents is very infrequent watering, which makes them really great as a houseplant, especially if you aren't super active and checking everything every day. So if it is something that's immovable, as long as you have a saucer, because if it's inside, you should have a saucer, so long as the pot has a drainage hole. As long as you just, water, and all that water will come right back up the drainage hole if there's enough in the saucer, and so that should saturate it. But especially if you see, a couple hours goes by and that water's still in the saucer, definitely dump that out and just leave it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leave it. Don't go too far on the watering, everybody. Okay, what about lighting?
Lighting, I would say generally houseplants, there's things that can withstand low light.
I think ZZ plant, I've learned.
ZZ plant's great, snake plant is great.
Snake plant.
But nothing loves being in complete darkness. Plants, these are mostly native to tropical rainforests where they're under dense canopy. So, there's not a ton of direct sun on them, if any at all, but there is enough ambient light for them to, so it is good to put them in brighter spots. If you have a west facing window that the sun comes right through, it's probably not ideal to put it directly right there. But I would argue that all houseplants should be in the brightest room in your house. Okay,
let's talk about pot size choice, because this information blew my mind.
Yes, so something that's very, very, very important is that when you have a houseplant, when you buy it in a pot like this, you only want it to be about 2 inches bigger than the pot that it's coming in.
Okay.
And that is because if you take this little guy and you put him in a huge pot and then you water it all, the plant's roots are not occupying the space that you've just put it into. It's only in this little, what we call the root ball, which is essentially the pot you bought it in. And so all of that soil around holds onto water, and the plant's not taking it up, so it can essentially rot the plant out from the sides and right below.
Oh, you're kidding. Okay, so if you buy too big of a pot, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Okay, I do want to talk about your potting experts, but before we do that, can you just do a little roll call for me of like the plants that I'm looking at right here, in case somebody's watching and they're thinking, I want to buy that.
Yeah. So we have a cat palm to my right, and then an Audrey ficus to my left, which is one of my favorite indoor trees. It's one of the few that actually grow indoors super well. We've got a Ming Aurelia, some pothos, some Christmas cactus for the season.
The Christmas cactus are gorgeous, y'all. Look at
beautiful.
These beautiful little flowers.
Thai constellation, which is a super popular kind of monstera, has this very beautiful pattern. We got orchids, ZZ, snake plant, different kinds of philodendrons that way. These gorgeous orchids And
yeah, I'm just trying to point out to everybody here. Can you guys see this color? My goodness, that's lovely.
They're gorgeous.
So some of these orchids are just really amazing. What about this little purple plant here in front?
That is an African violet.
An African violet. Oh, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. Okay, so all of these can be grown successfully indoors.
Yes.
Good to know. Let's talk about your potting experts and your plantscapes.
Yes. So at the nursery, if you buy a plant or a pot with us, we can pot it up for you. And we have, this is one of the arrangements that was made at the nursery, and I just brought it through. It'll grow in super, super nice. But yeah, that's a service we offer, as well as our design team. They can do an entire design and install of houseplants in your home. We've done restaurants as well. So everything, we take everything, go to the site, plant it all out, top dress everything, make it look real nice.
And pick the right spots for light,
Yes.
which is the problem I have. Okay, Zander, thank you so
Yeah,
much
of
as
course.
always. All right, visit the Plant Pros in person on Bee Caves Road or check them out online, bartonspringsnursery.com.